Hey, this is RWR Shooting Dead out of South Austin. This is going to be real short. I think this is the funniest thing ever. That's why I'm not laughing. But I bet most people listen to it. I think this is the most evil, horrible thing they ever heard. Because they haven't read the books. So, here it is. Talk about starving children. Okay, let's start with starving children in America. Well, there really hasn't been a starving child in America since the Nixon administration. Ever heard of food stamps? Ever heard of, unlimited corn and all kinds of government cheese, all kinds of stuff. Federally funded school lunches. That's the Nixon administration. God, Nixon was a pretty cool guy. But he gets a bad rap because he had like personality issues, but Nixon was a lot cooler than you'd think he was. He's just a weirdo, so everybody's freaked out about Nixon, but I'm digging Nixon. I'm a Democrat, but Nixon was pretty cool, but sure enough, Nixon's like, no more starving people in America. We're going to fix that. You know why he did that? Because he studied history, studied the French Revolution. The French Revolution, they didn't care. They were just starving. They're starving so long. And guess what? The king of France, he had all kinds of food. He just didn't want to share it. So sure enough, all the peasants got their pitchforks and their torches, and they killed the king. And they took over, and that is modern France. But Nixon knew about that, and there were starving people in America. He got the hell with that. I couldn't feed everybody. He goes 1, 2, 3, real simple, and hired the right people 1, 2, 3. And since then, there's no such thing as a starved American child or adult. Americans don't know nothing about hunger. You gotta travel to the third world to understand hunger, or read history. But Americans don't know nothing about hunger. Cool about hunger, a guy named Knut Hamsun Hunger, which won the Nobel Prize for Literature. That's a word, but that's hunger. Anyway, no such thing as a hungry American or American child. If you know of a hungry child in America who goes to sleep hungry or wakes up hungry, well, if they're like a child of an illegal immigrant who just got to America, don't speak English, can't figure out no job, don't know anybody, fine. That person definitely helped that person. And guess what? I need that kind of stuff all the time, every day. That's cool. In that case, got to get into like the church charities. All these churches have cool charities like that. It is like kind of get with any church charity, like name, address. These are good people. Let's get them connected. And then the church will pay for it. Then the church take over, taking care of them. They ain't got to go to that church or believe anything. No, that's what Jesus said, dude. Go feed the poor. Well, that's what church is into if they're cool. So into that. Whatever. That's that. Oh, the Catholic Church is all over that kind of stuff. You betcha. You betcha. So, really, there's no such thing as a starving child in America. If you know a starving child, that's called parental neglect. Now, all kinds of reasons for parental neglect. It happens all the time. All kinds of weird reasons. But if there's parental neglect of a child starving more than a few days in a row and you know about it, that's someone else's job. Call 911 and say, I need Child Protective Services to do a welfare check at the following address. The children there are going to sleep hungry. That's their job. Then just hang up. Then Child Protective Services, that's their job. That's what your tax dollars are paying for. Old CPS, they roll up, they check it out, and they're very, very good at this. I have a lot of, in my life, kind of people I hang out with. A lot of weird people I hang out with, but a lot of weird people. Music business, comedy, film, actors, all kinds of weird people. And roadies. And sure enough, quite a few of them dealt with Child Protective Services. And CPS rolls up, they check it out. And if it's like a misunderstanding, they're going to investigate that house, look at the food, ask the birds at their work. It could be some misunderstanding or maybe, who knows, something like that. CPS can go, you're fine. We're just going to kind of put you on like a 30-day probation, 30 days from now, and come check in on you. If they're so cool, CPS is going to cancel the case file and kind of throw it away. However, if CPS rolls in and you're talking parental neglect, you better watch out. Those CPS cats are no joke, at least in Travis County. I really don't know anything, but in Travis County, you do not mess with CPS. Nobody does. I mean, they will rock your world. And no lawyer judge in the world is going to say boo to CPS. CPS is this. Judges, lawyers, everybody says, okay, CPS, that's how we're going to rule. So what's up with that? Now, that's it. There's no such thing as starvation, America. It's just the Nixon. Nixon picks that. Now, different deal. Around the world, like third world countries, a couple things. If there's starvation in a third world country like Ethiopia, really anywhere in the world, there's starvation. Really, if you research it, the reason of that starvation is corrupt government. Simple as that. Whatever the food money is, or the food, corrupt countries, third world, really all over the world, all governments are corrupt. That's just a fact. But third world countries, there's no food. That means the government's corrupt. Simple as that. Because you got like all kinds of UN food banks, all kinds of charities in America, sending all kinds of corn and all kinds of food everywhere, trying to feed everybody. If there's no food, the government's corrupt. That's it. Read history, read the newspaper. That's it. And then if that's not going on, for example, not those two things. The third thing is, like, for example, all these immigrants trying to cross the Mediterranean and the boats drown and they'll freak out. And that really weird picture about, 5 years ago, that kid news photographer takes that picture of that little kid. He's like dead on the beach in Greece or somewhere, and that rocketed the world. I think that old guy won the Pulitzer for news photography. I bet he did. He should have. It's just the one picture of this poor little, 3-year-old boy. I'm going to start crying just think about it. Dead on the beach. Almost ain't gonna deal. That's hunger. That's starvation. That's why they're coming. In that case, corrupt government's a big part of it. Another thing is, I want Sam Kinison. That original, go watch Google, just YouTube, say, Sam Kinison Letterman debut. And that's up. Sam Kinison's first time on television. And he rocks out there. He got all kinds of cool stuff. But one of the things he says is, I guess that's when the Angola hunger crisis is all over TV, and there's Sally Struthers or whatever going, please feed the poor, and there's a little starving kid in a puddle of mud. That's a funny routine. That's not Kinnison, that's somebody else, something like that. Anyway, whatever, Sally Struthers, I think that is Kinnison. Anyway, Kinnison's like, well, I know you got a bologna sandwich. Feed that kid, Sally, you fat ass. That's a good routine. I should steal that. But anyway, the reason they're coming across the Mediterranean is because they're starving. Who knows why? Well, they got it right. Sam Kinison said that. I don't care whether it's corrupt government or sure enough, Central Africa, they do have famines. Certainly famines, plus these weird invasions of locusts. I mean, that happened one time in Texas when I was a kid. Those locust invasions are no joke. I mean, that locust, what's that, a cricket? No, that's a locust. Every now and then, environmental situations right. A locust, 30 square miles of farmland covered in locusts, and they eat everything. Once that's done, they move on to another 30 square miles and eat everything. Any kind of corn or food, a locust happens. Game over. There ain't no food. And that happens all the time in Africa. Why? Climate change. That's climate change. Or Lake Chad. I mean, I don't know, hundreds of millions, not hundreds, but many, many, many millions of people rely on Lake Chad. Water, really, it's water, fish, everything. Lake Chad. What's happening in Lake Chad? Been there for probably 100 million years. Lake Chad, what's happening now? It's drying up. Why is Lake Chad drying up? Climate change. For all these 100 million people that live around Lake Chad, they got no water, no food. What are they doing? Crossing the Mediterranean to Europe. Europe's got food and water. They're going to be fine. Plus, Europe, just like America, we got Mexicans or whatever. Europe needs people to build buildings, mop the floors, take care of the babies, wash the dishes, do all that. They need them too. So it's all working just fine. The moral of the story is this very simply. It's a very spiritual, philosophical message. This is based on a detailed study of Immanuel Kant, but really it goes back to certain things that Thomas Aquinas wrote about, and then that goes all the way to the Bishop of Hippo, Augustine. We're going to study that, but the point is to sum all that deep philosophy up, not to mention the mathematical, logical philosophers came along, killed philosophy, plus the French philosophers, kind of surrealism meets deep mathematical logic. Point is all that. Well, don't worry about that. The point is, in America, if you're hungry, go dine and dash at IHOP. My name is R. Division, sponsored by Jägermeister.